Hi, I'm really sad that I can't be with you today. I had been excited, and one of the best things about my job is being able to be with young adults who are interested in the wider church and the Episcopal Church and the Anglican Communion. Being with you all as you make your journey from youth to adult in the church, confirmation, all that. So I really am sad to not be with you. Part of my other job is as the chief pastor of the diocese, to be pastor to the families of clergy, and so today I have to actually be with a family, longtime member of the church who's a priest spouse who died, and so I'm going to go be with them. And in fact, one of their child, Andrew, was a good friend of mine at summer camp, and so it's really important for me to be the bishop who's present. So thank you for your understanding in that, and I know you understand the difficulty of that. So, but I do want to share with you some of what I found to be an exciting part of the communion, which is our relationship with this thing called the Anglican Communion. You're getting ready to go on this pilgrimage, and so maybe some fun facts. In the 1860s, we were a young diocese at the time. Our first bishop, Bishop Alexander Gregg, was the bishop diocesan. He's running around starting churches. But there was a bishop in Natal, John William Colenso, and he had some crazy ideas about the Old Testament, and word was getting out around the rest of the Anglican Communion, and everybody's like, this guy is heretical. And so people deeply wanted to get together with the Archbishop and with one another and talk about all of what was going on, how terrible this was. We think about that time, we don't think about how people were connected, but they really were. And even though communication was slower, they were writing letters to each other. So the Archbishop of Canterbury, Charles Longley, in 1867 decided that this was a great idea, he would get all the bishops together to talk. And this is really the first time that the communion itself becomes communion. In other words, that what had started out as the Church of England, Scotland and Wales, and the Church in Ireland, and then the Church of America as the first colonies, the Church in Canada, had eventually spread. It spread through the colonization. But the church had continued to grow and to expand. And so by the time we get to 1867, there are a lot of bishops all around the world, and they've never gotten together before. They're all consider themselves part, and they write to the Archbishop of Canterbury. So there's this relationship back to the sea. So he's going to get everybody together. And so he actually even wrote Bishop Alexander Gregg and said, hey, do you think this would be a good idea? And Gregg was like, yes, this would be a great idea for us to come and be together. And so the Archbishop writes back and says, well, do you think the House of Bishops would come with? Well, some of them aren't too sure about you. But yes, I think the majority of the bishops would want to do it. So the first Lambeth Conference happens, which is the bishops from around the world get together. It's really kind of the first moment in which we begin to form ourselves. We were a communion, right? We were related, but it's the first time we really become a formed institution, if you will, when the bishops gather and get together. What's really funny is the Archbishop doesn't even let them talk about Colenso. So they come together, and he frames the whole thing around Christian unity and the Anglican Communion and what it means to be a church together, and they don't even talk about Colenso at all, who doesn't attend. And in fact, most of the English bishops end up not attending. Our bishop, Bishop Gregg, goes. He has a good time. We have letters from him back home, and we know he raised money for our church and mission here in the Diocese of Texas. So from that time, from the very first part of what we would consider our contemporary communion, the Diocese of Texas has been a part of that. Today, the communion thrives. It's all over the world. You'll see a picture, a map of all of the different countries that are part of the communion. The Episcopal Church itself has 18 different countries in it. So Taiwan is a part of the Episcopal Church. And so the Episcopal Church itself, Haiti, part of the Episcopal Church, the continental U.S., the churches of the United States are all part of that. And then that's part of all these other, in relationship with all these other churches. So the structure is you have the Archbishop of Canterbury. He's what's called an instrument of communion. He gathers us together. Lambeth Conference is an instrument of communion, a place where we get together to do that. Then there is the Anglican Consultative Council. That is a group of clergy and laity and bishops appointed from all over the world to govern the mission and ministry of the communion. And so there are two kind of pieces to the structure. There's the episcopal or bishop piece, and then there is the mission and ministry piece. There is a Secretary General, Josiah Farron, who runs that piece, and Justin Welby is our present Archbishop of Canterbury. We're getting ready in 2020 to come to England to be a part of a Lambeth Conference. When we gather, there will be over 500 bishops from all over the world gathering to have conversations about life of a bishop, praying together, worshiping together, thinking about the issues that face the world. There will be a lot of conversation about ecology, actually, and the environment and what faces us. Another piece will be global poverty and how the ecology affects global poverty with droughts and the importance of clean water and economic development for the poor. So it's going to be an exciting time to be there. We're actually, the Diocese of Texas, helping raise $1.5 million to bring bishops from around the world to come to that. I am the president of the Compass Rose Society, which is a group of people who raise money for the mission. We're the second largest donor. We have 13 different countries involved in our organization and raise money to run the ministry part. So we helped to do that, and there was a big meeting called ACC 17, Anglican Consultative Council 17, that just happened in preparation for Lambeth. So it gives you a sense that just like we have a diocese where you have a church, and then you have the diocesan bishop, and then we have the wider church, the Episcopal Church, of which I am one of those. We do have a primate, a presiding bishop, Michael Curry, and he has some similar powers. He can only gather us. He can discipline and he can ordain. Very limited. The vast majority of the communion operates at the very local level. But we gather together, and then beyond that, there's a greater global gathering, which we call the Anglican Communion. It is both Reformed and Catholic. If you look in the back of the church, Book of Common Prayer, you will see both how we as Episcopalians define our role in that communion, but also the 39 articles, the Lambeth Quadrilateral, the way in which we view our relationship to that wider body is all encapsulated in those kind of historic documents that nobody ever really looks at because it's at the back of the church, back of the prayer book. And so I encourage you to take a look at that. And I hope you have a great day kind of thinking about it. You should have a wonderful trip. I wish I could be with you. I'm glad that Bishop Monterosso is going. I think that you're going to discover like this whole other church that's out there. And I think you'll have a great time. So thank you.